Hey, all you racers, fabricators, do-it-yourselfers, garage mechanics, and whatever you call it. Welcome back. I have a quick update. We had the race car on the dyno again, and had a few problems with it, but we still made some progress. But that's not even the update. The update is actually that I've decided to take the air-to-water intercooler system off of the car, mainly for a couple of two big reasons. One, I get to lose a couple 100 pounds, 250 pounds of weight out of the car. And the reason for that, or the reason that I'm interested in losing the weight, is this particular car in the particular classes that I plan on running in, I'm kind of outgunned in that I don't have billet heads or anything, you know, a billet block or anything. It's a nice engine, but it was originally for a street car, so it's, you know, it doesn't have all the super fancy stuff in it. Now it still makes good power, but just not as much power as some of the guys that I'm going to run against. So I have to take as many steps as I can to get the weight down and do all these things. So having said that, I'm just going to show you a few quick things that I've changed. The intercooler, the pump, the tank, the lines, all that stuff is already out of the car. So the next step was going to be to fabricate the inlet pipe that went from the turbo up to the intake manifold. And then also, I only had two Magnafuel Pro Tuner 750 fuel pumps on it because I was running E85. It worked great. Had, you know, as far as the fuel system was concerned, I was covered for eons. You know, then the engine was never going to exceed the ability of the pumps. However, I had 16 210-pound injectors in it. Even they weren't taxed. You know, I had plenty of fuel supply, and I had plenty of ability to get it into the engine. Now, the problem is that when I switch to methanol, all that goes out the window. So I was going to give you a heads up, let you know there's some videos going to be coming where I'm installing the Enderly 17 gallon per hour mechanical belt drive fuel pump, which is going to go on the front down underneath. The fuel cell and lines and all that stuff is going to get moved to the front of the car. Again, all in the name of weight. We don't need all that hose and all that stuff in the car. We have to be able to get even more fuel into the engine now, since the 210-pound injectors are not going to cover it. So we're going to do a mechanical injection. So we're going to do a hybrid mechanical fuel injection setup on it, where we're going to plumb 8 nozzles up into the top of the intake runner above the other 8 electronic injectors. If that proves to work out like I expect it to, then at some point I'm going to redo the upper plenum on the intake manifold and make it more purpose-built for that setup. So, having said that, I'm going to show you a few clips of the dyno, and you'll kind of see that when I stab the gas, you'll hear the engine kind of blubbering for fuel, or blubbering with fuel a little bit, and then it cleans up and it revs fine. You'll also notice that the runs are very short, because it's spinning the tires on the rollers. If you watch the video close, you'll see the shift light flash. That shift light is set at 8,000 RPM. So that kind of gives you an idea of how quick the run goes by, how much power it makes, and so on and so forth. Oh, and in this video, it made 950 some odd horsepower. Now, to those of you who have seen stuff like this before, it's pretty obvious that it makes more than 950 some odd horsepower. Or in the third or fourth pull, we actually added more straps to the back of the car, which you can't see. But it picked up it picked up nearly 200 horsepower just putting straps on it. So that gives you an idea how bad it spins on the rollers. And this particular dyno doesn't have an eddy current brake on it, so we can't put a load on it and keep the car from spinning the tires so easily. So check the dyno videos out coming up right now, and then I'm also going to show you what the data log looks like for at least one of those dyno pulls. Okay, the stage injection tables, I couldn't edit this y-axis maximum right here to anything above 250 because the way the INI file was set up. So when I went and put in 600 to match my map, it wouldn't allow me to change it. So what happened is as I stab the gas, you know, somewhere, or even as I roll into the gas, somewhere right here around the 3,500 RPM range, the load would go straight up right here, and it would start getting into this fuel when it really didn't need it. So what I did, I just kind of tried to work my way through it on the dyno, and you know, I really couldn't get it ironed out. But I'll show you what it looks like on the graph and where the problem starts. So back over here to the graph, now that the staged injection, or now that you see what was happening, is the load, the fuel load right here is in at 124 already, before the engine even gets to any power. So it's making the secondary injectors, which is the yellow line here, do a lot more than we needed them to do, which in turn was adding to this air fuel problem right here where it's too rich. Now as you got into the gas, or as you got into the power, it started working like it was supposed to. Now this is one of the earlier tunes, and you can see this 13-to-1. It's leaning out a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. So having said all that, that explains the problems that you see and hear on the dyno videos, or that you just saw and heard on the dyno video from just a couple seconds ago. Okay, so now you got the long explanation of the problems on the dyno and what happened, and now rather than try to really figure out the E85 and you know, make the car run that way, I figured it was probably a good time to put the methanol in the car and figure it all out at once, rather than figure out the E85, then put the methanol in the car and then try to figure that out. So that's it for the race car right now, and then I'm gonna pick the camera up and show you real quick on the truck, on the S10, on the progress of the turbo setup, which is just sitting right here next to the race car. Okay, as you can see, I got it all tore apart, or most of it torn apart, the exhaust off of it. I got the parts sitting over in a box. So now I'm going to go ahead and get started on this thing this week, and hopefully have some good videos coming up. So, and actually in short order, I hope to have the truck on the dyno and get it fixed up and ready to go to its new home. Okay, that's the end of the shop update. Just kind of a little bit of a all-inclusive thing. We're going to cover a little bit of the truck, a little bit of the race car. So stay tuned. I already have some footage cut for the truck. I just need to edit it and get it put up. But it's just kind of covering the suspension and the install and the lowering and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try to get that edited pretty quick and get it put up. But I figured this one was kind of a quick and easy deal and get you a little bit caught up on the race car. I had some people asking some questions about it. So anyways, as usual, thanks for stopping by. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up and also subscribe. I'd love to see you back for the next videos. So thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.